we'll be silly.
No.
I'm happy to be silly.
Yeah.
Dean, I don't give a flying flip if it's Dylan Moore. You sit your ass at the Shabbos table till 10 o'clock and then you can go do your thing.
Ben Key. You can choose any.
Yeah.
I know.
No, we need a
Actually-
forward. We need a forward.
I might wait, hold on. I'm not talking. Ben Keys.
Yeah.
What? Why?
I've actually heard the only thing less likely than a North Melbourne win is Chase making a sale at work.
What's that? That's
Backs. Yeah.
Mids, forwards.
Harry. Ooh, Adams, 89.
Welcome back to the Dos and Toss podcast, season 5, episode 4. A very interesting week of footy. I think a lot of unexpected results, a few upsets. I actually didn't watch much footy, and I don't think Brodie did either. He's that unprepared that he's just decided to watch the basketball while we do this podcast.
I do my best work when I'm unprepared. You'd be surprised. I go in most podcasts unprepared.
Yeah, well, you do your only work unprepared.
Well, you say that about fantasy, and you've never actually won.
What?
Oh, straight into fantasy.
No, I study for fantasy. Anyway.
A little bit.
It's another discussion.
One of the from the fans' questions was actually about fantasy. I think it was potentially Stiglitz. He wanted to know how all the fantasy teams are going. So I believe Adam started 2-0. I'm 1-1. Dean, you're 1-1. Brodie.
Everyone else is 1-1, but Brodie is
0-2.
Thought I was 1-on-1 after this week. We had some issues with the app, but anyway.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone else is using the AFL Fantasy Draft app and has complaints. Because I've been looking at Twitter and I haven't been able to find
It's got
much.
a 1.4 star rating on the app.
Really?
wow.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, there needs to be change. Because
It's actually made it so unenjoyable.
It's the worst thing since unsliced bread.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
No, it's actually really annoying. Because I just want to be able to crunch. I like crunching numbers.
I genuinely feel like it's put a dampener on the start of the season.
100%. I think it's a pretty big. I wouldn't say loss, but it's definitely hindered my quality of life in the last few weeks.
Sorry to hear, Chase.
Yeah, that's okay, because there was some footy this weekend. My team lost. Dean and Brodie, your teams played pretty well, so you guys can take the floor.
Yeah, Thursday night games feel like ages ago.
Mm.
I remember saying last year that I was a fan of Thursday night footy unless my own team plays, but I really enjoyed Thursday night. Great start to the weekend with the win. Get to try and bump into some Carlton fans after the game on a Friday. Your weekend starts early if you get the win. And it was good vibes all around. The rain was there. It just stopped right before the game. It was a weird one because it was heavily raining, but it wasn't cold. So everyone brought like coats and jackets, but it really wasn't cold.
Humid per se?
Yeah, but it was odd. But it was a good win. It was a grindy fight by us. We didn't really play our best football, but just had to grind it out. And I think that gives me more confidence in that we didn't play our best and we still got the job done.
Yeah, well, speaking to a few Hawthorn people, my physio Adam's a Hawthorn supporter, and yeah, they're saying that Hawthorn's not playing that well. Then I said, look, everyone says you got to play well for 4 quarters, which is just unrealistic. You're not going to play well for 4 quarters. The AFL's pretty even. The other team are always going to have a momentum shift. If you can get the job done playing 2 quarters, 2.5 quarters, that's just all you need to do. That's what a good team is. But Shag was saying that he hasn't even enjoyed the past 3 weeks.
What?
He's lost the kind of enjoyment of winning. I was like, this era, this Hawthorn team, like I know you got history, but this era hasn't achieved anything yet. Like surely you're still enjoying the roller coaster and the progression.
He has some interesting takes that I'll just never understand.
Yeah.
Especially that one.
Well, such as...
The Rodney McGruder special back in the day.
I don't know.
Basketball. He's made some interesting football comments, but I never really understand what he means by it.
Yeah, and then you ask him to follow
Explain.
up and explain, and then
he
you just
can't.
get more confused.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Shag's a very passionate Hawthorn fan, but I'm not sure that comment would speak on behalf of us. I've very much enjoyed it. Obviously, this season's different with expectation. Like last year, the wins against Carlton and Collingwood were so enjoyable because we weren't the favourites and then we go on to smash them at the G. And now it's like, well, we're the favourites. We just get the job done by 20 points. Not too exciting, but still did the job for me.
Yep.
I'm sure it did for everyone else.
And going on to Friday night, I didn't watch much of it. I just caught the first quarter and the end of the last, and a bit plastic for myself, but had to go see my girlfriend's parents.
Ooh.
Bring the flowers.
Wow.
No, I didn't bring anything, which
Empty-handed.
yeah, but because it just wasn't the sitch. Like, I wasn't going for a meal,
Lots
and
of
like
favourites,
it was supposed to just be like an afternoon catch up, and then it had to be post dinner. So I just didn't think it was the sitch. Maybe I was wrong. Feel free to give me feedback. But I wanted to watch that game, but some things are bigger than football, and I hadn't seen them for a while. So I went there.
Never thought I'd hear Chase say
Put the phone away. Put the phone away. Put fantasy away. Fraser and Houston didn't do that well, so I can't comment too much. But I know there was some rhetoric about the umpires. Brodie.
Chase, before we get to the actual game, I must say, you're just talking about how you're a fan of Thursday night footy. I cannot think of a better time slot than Friday night footy. And I saw some rankings recently about it. I think they had Friday night footy ranked at 3rd or 4th. And I was just in disbelief. I don't know how you put it number 3 and number 4 on your list. I couldn't think of a better time. It's perfect. There's no distraction on a Friday night except for the Sabbath for Dean and everything. But it's just... It's nice to go into the weekend, especially if you win, but it's nice that you don't have to worry about your team. I think Thursday can be too early in the week, but anyway, we'll get to the game. Collingwood really had to scrap that one out. It wasn't our best football. We had Elliott and DeGoey missing set shots from 30 metres out. Sam Darcy was an unstoppable force and has gained a lot of attention so far this year, just about his future and how to stop him. As a key forward. Libba also had a great game, 30 plus disposals and a goal. You've got to give credit to Dogs who actually came out and put on a show for their 100-year anniversary. So well done, Footscray. Umpiring, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm watching football, I don't ever think about that stuff. I had no idea that it was 33-14, freeze for and against. Sure, you can argue it would have been unfair, but, first quarter, first goal Sam Darcy kicks is a tackle on Darcy Moore that shouldn't have been paid holding the ball. So that's an example. But I don't know. I didn't think much of it. Like, when I'm watching the game and it's in the heat of the moment and definitely not thinking about that. Not sure what else I have to
I
add.
think with umpiring, like looking at it purely from a quantifiable point of view and seeing 33-14 is a bit unfair because the aim isn't to get 50-50. The aim is to adjudicate the game accordingly to the rule book, and 33-14 is very lopsided, so you need to go and look at like certain moments where they made the wrong call rather than just saying, hey, look, Collingwood had 19 more frees.
Speaking of lopsided, Rory Lobb was also very good. So shout out
Don
to
in the blue hair.
the Blue Lobster. Well done.
Yeah, I'm actually I feel like I'm turning on Rory Lobb.
Yeah,
I like him.
transition to that back line. No, it looks much better there, much more comfortable as well. And I don't think Collingwood have hit their best footy yet. Far from it, actually. Shame for Reef McGuinness, who tore his ACL, and I had no idea that happened.
So innocuous.
and the
in
Ballard
the first
one,
few
early.
minutes. In the first few minutes, I actually found out the next day, which is bizarre and very unlike me. But I was at the game with Ezzy, so I think I wasn't on my phone that much because we were just talking or moving around during halftime, things like that.
Been requested to get him back on the pod just quietly.
By who?
By
By
Dari.
himself? Oh, by Dari.
Yeah.
Okay. He could make that happen. He was very good
Yeah,
when he
he is
came
good.
on a couple of years ago, so we could definitely make that happen.
Yeah. Other than that,
The
Happy to get the win.
Dacos non-deliberate call, I think, was pretty dubious.
where he's running out.
Yeah.
That was bad.
But like at the end of the day, like your team's gonna be stiff sometimes, but the umpires are not. I don't think there's actually corruption in the game. Like the umpires aren't trying to favour a side. They're generally doing their best. Look, the quality may not be great, and that could be a separate story. How do we go about improving the umpiring? But in terms of bias, I think it comes down to
There
luck.
was one call that was paid insufficient attempt deliberate against Bulldogs. someone was kicking it out of their back half.
Bailey Dale.
Dale.
Yeah, he tapped it out.
Yeah. And his intention was to kick it straight, and because the shape of the footy is an oval shape, it bounced on its left side and went out of bounds, and it was paid deliberate.
Okay.
Which was
I may be thinking of a different one because I'm thinking of one where he intercepted it and like he was just stopping it from getting behind him.
There were two. One should have been paid, and the other was a horrible call. But I don't think the game came down to that one decision. So, yeah, that's it from me.
Yeah. Quickly on Sunday's disaster from the Dees.
Go North.
Go North. No, genuinely. Like, I was very happy for North. You know, they were getting up and about in the last quarter, and as much as it was hard to watch, like, the North fans deserve that. They've gone through quite a bit. They haven't had a win like that in...
Harry said that was
Who
one of
knows?
his most favourite wins.
Yeah,
One of the
100%.
best
Like,
wins
when was the
team's
last
had.
time North had a comprehensive victory?
Yeah, like to be able to celebrate it
Yeah.
during the game.
The highest score he's been a part of as well, I believe.
Yeah, so... And I think that's the win they needed. They needed... Because they've obviously got the talent, but you need to have a winning culture. And given that they put that, 4 quarters of footy together, that just gives them the belief going into the rest of the season, which they needed. It wasn't a scrappy win. It was 4 quarters of quality. Their forward line looks great. Curtis, Larkey, and Zerha. That's a pretty imposing trio. And then even with their midfield, Powell. I don't even think Harry played that well, to be honest. And I think he'll be harsh on himself too. He had a few turnovers. But like Colby, Powell, Simkin, Parker, LDU, and even their backline. I'm going to get to one of their backs in a later segment, actually. But like no Jackson Archer, no Griffin Logue. Melbourne's forward line's pretty shit, but they did pretty well to keep them to 70-odd points.
Comben had 8 intercept marks.
I was about to
didn't
touch on
know.
Comben, but I'll touch on him later.
Okay.
Where
Or will I? I don't know.
Where is it going wrong for Melbourne?
Gotta be careful with that name, by the way.
With what? Comben?
Yeah.
Yes. What was the
I don't know.
story?
He sent Harry some reel of us.
Oh, yeah, he did send a
What
reel
is
of us.
What did Melbourne finish last year?
14th? 14th,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, so going in with not the highest expectations for this year, but not sure you were expecting to lose by 60-odd points to North Melbourne in round 2.
No.
So where has it gone wrong for you guys? Just quickly, if you could summarise.
I think there's a lot of separate issues, but the main one is just like the connection going inside 50. I mean, again, we had...
That's always been the issue.
Yeah, and that's what I hate about it, because it's like it's a new season, but it's just the same problem. Like, how many times do I want to go over it? And I don't. I'm like sick of talking about it. But yeah, like the mid-forward connection, I liked the new way that we played. Like, we're playing faster, and like we create forward half turnovers. But like, surely when you create a turnover and you're streaming down the middle, there's just someone leading up at the footy. Like, why, when we're turning the ball over and we have so much space, is it just constant bombing into like a 2v1 contest? Like, that just shouldn't be the outcome. And given, our tall forwards aren't winning contests, that's not the way to play. So yeah, I'll touch on another point about the D's a bit later, but just happy for North. Like, I wasn't even that upset last night. Won cricket semi-final, so
There we go.
Congrats.
Yeah.
I feel like you're always in the granny.
yeah, it's third
you are.
granny in a row.
Yeah.
Fourth for the twos in a row, but I missed 1 year. The year we lost in the granny. So
Wow.
yeah, hoping to make
are
it
you
3
on
from
for
3.
3P if you win?
I am, but
Wow.
we're on for a 3 from 4. So
Yeah.
and the 1's also in the granny as well. So and the 3's won the granny this week. Could
Wow.
be a big week
Celebration.
for the Caulfield
Me
Cricket
as
Club.
well.
So get down to Werribee.
Now, North go into a big matchup this following week against Adelaide. They've never won. What is it? They've never won a game at Adelaide.
Adelaide Oval.
Is that the stat?
Yeah.
Is that from Dosso or?
No.
No, it's
I
not.
heard it
it's-
on the radio this
yeah.
morning.
There you go. Well, Adelaide Oval was only established maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, but I just thought that'd be more of a well-known stat by now. Also, before last week, I had no idea Adelaide hadn't won at the MCG since 2017.
Yeah,
I knew
true.
that.
Yeah.
They don't play much there, to be
Yeah, I
honest.
they
guess
don't.
these teams don't. But North play there this week, then in Gather Round as well. And
Yes.
then they're playing Port as well in Adelaide.
Well,
So
I'm
it's
pretty sure
finished.
St Kilda go
Yeah.
bang, bang, bang as well. with the Adelaide Oval. 3 in a row.
Bizarre fixturing.
Bizarre.
Wow. Does
They
that
lo-
mean you don't stay no, you wouldn't stay.
No, Melbourne had the back-to-back Adelaide Oval last
And
year, and we
you
stayed. I think you make
How'd you
make a
go?
week. We won both,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then didn't win many after that.
Clary at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah,
Thing of the past.
Yeah, thing of the past, but he's back. He is definitely back. He was definitely one of our best on the weekend. 36 and a goal. Just looked like prime Clary. So a small positive for Clary. Speaking of Adelaide, though, they've played 2 average opponents, St Kilda and Essendon, but they look pretty scary. Their forward line is pretty ominous. Like, they subbed Rankin out at 3/4 time because they needed to nerf him. He was that good. They were kicking goals from everywhere. Phil Thorpe, Walker, Rochelle, Rankin, as I just said. That is scary. And they may be the real deal.
Yeah, obviously too early to buy them. I think we did that last year.
Stock-wise.
Yeah. Just a stocks, throwback. But yeah, giving up 100 points to Essendon is not ideal, and especially a team without Langford. But looking scary, but yeah, they just got to do it against the side which matters. Like, we know their other counterpart in Adelaide, Port, are very well known as flat track bullies, and Adelaide may as well be that as well.
Yeah, they haven't been tested.
Yeah.
You got to feel for Merritt, who had 36 disposals and 4 goals as their skipper.
Yeah.
It'd be rough. What did you do?
I don't think their midfield's really the biggest issue. I mean, the forward line's not great. They lost Stringer and now Langford's injured, so I think they lost 80-odd goals from last season. But I want to highlight their defence, or lack of, should I say. So I'm going to go through their back 6 that they played against Adelaide, and you tell me if they actually make any other side's best back 6 fully fit.
Any other team? in the
Any other
league?
team, fully fit back 6. Okay? Starting off with Jackson Pryor.
No.
Ben Mackay.
Mate, Collingwood.
I'd say 50%, 60%.
Maybe Collingwood or
Not
West Coast.
Hawthorns.
Yeah.
Not even a
60% of the
thought.
league.
Nah.
50?
You're saying he gets into like 50% of the league's best back 6.
Yeah.
The thing with fullbacks, though, if you put them in a good system, they could be
Fair.
good.
All right.
I don't know.
Next one. Zach Reed.
No.
Andy McGrath. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely as a halfback. I'm not going to include Redmond or Martin because they're kind of playing more up on the ground. Archie Roberts. No.
Second year. First year player, second year.
Second.
And lastly, Dylan Shield.
No.
No.
I don't even-
Not as a halfback.
No.
No.
And he's probably not going to... He'll probably get dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't win many games with that back 6.
No, but Redmond was playing as a back. I think he was
Yeah.
on Walker even or something.
But they're like even McGrath that we said will make it. Like, he's very offensive.
Yeah.
Defensively, like Redmond, McGrath, even Nick Martin, who plays more wing half forward as well, they're not very defensively accountable. So you're just not going to win games with that back 6, which is pretty concerning for Essendon. Like, they've had a number of recruits and also top draft picks, and they haven't been able to address this issue. Pretty poor. They drafted Lewis Hayes a couple of years back, who's yet to play, and obviously Ben Mackay is one of the highest paid players.
Reed's a top 10 pick.
Reed as well, top 10
Yeah.
pick. So there's definitely some recruiting deficiencies at Essendon.
When is it time to get rid of their recruiting managers?
Did they not just do it?
Did they?
Adrian Dodoro's got
Yeah.
he left. Yeah. I think it was his last year,
Okay.
but they got rid of their first round. Well, they got Kako and then gave us their first round. So they got 2 first rounds this year, but it is also stacked with father sons and academies. So we'll see where that lands. That Melbourne pick could be low with how it started. Saints, crazy result. Sorry, I don't even know. Like, I guess it's just round 2, like early in the season, things like that just
too hard
It's
to
happen.
say.
also the Saints. I don't know. Last year, I remember they beat
They
Collingwood
usually-
in round 3 at the G and looked
Yeah.
amazing. Then they just disappear.
This just
for-
makes it so confusing. Like, it's
So
Geelong going to be, a reputable team going forward? Are they still top 4 chances, top 8? Like,
You can just never judge Geelong's first 6 games. I mean, they were actually 7-0 last year, but like typically they never start seasons well, and they have these little hiccups. So not sure how much to make of it. Bailey Smith out as well, and Max
I'm not
Holmes
sure
got
that makes
tagged.
the entire difference.
No,
but it
definitely doesn't make that big of a difference. But I think it was, I don't know.
Stainer's
yeah.
older players played really well, and I think that's what the most promising sign was. Like your Woods, your Zach
McRae's.
Jones, McRae, like all
Steele,
these
Sinclair,
guys who
Marshall.
aren't there for the rebuild. Like these guys are there to play well every week, and that's what was promising.
Well, I think a key part of that, we said Bailey Smith was out, and originally the Saints were going to tag him, so they shifted the tag onto Max Holmes. That was Marcus Windhager on Holmes, who had 19 disposals. Also, James Jordan was arguably best on against Freo, tagging Sarong out of the game with only 19 touches. So my question is having a tagger a must-have, especially against a team that has like a premium midfielder?
No, we saw it last week. James Jordan was tagging Lockie Neal and they still lost.
Yeah, fair, but he didn't.
no,
but
it's not
Lockie
a
Neal
must-have.
he didn't have an influence.
Correct, but sometimes there's so much focus towards a certain player tagging the opposition's best player, thinking that's going to eliminate certain things from the game, which it will, but at the end of the day, there's 17 other players in the field, and it's not always going to be effective. You can't draw all your attention to that. So, no, it doesn't. You don't need a tagger in your team to win games.
What about Dacos?
What about Dacos?
Well, what do you
Played-
have? 39.
Yeah.
Dominated.
Yeah.
And then look at his game against the Giants. Bedford tagged him out. Yes, he was cramping, but I think if
Big
you
different rounds, first game. But players have always tried to tag Dacos and they only end up doing it for a half. I'm not saying maybe Jordan is a more effective tagger, but I don't think it's going to be the difference necessarily all the time.
I think you look at a lot of these players who've been shut down by taggers in this season, Sarong, Neal, Dacos, their midfielders with them aren't as good. You look at Neal, you've got, pardon me, you've got Dunkley, Ashcroft, McCluggage, Berry. Like, you've got a plethora of mids who will get the ball and stand up when Neal's out of the game. I don't know who's going with Sarong other than Brayshaw, really. Geelong, we know the midfield's not their strength, especially if Baz isn't there, and Collingwood as well. If Dacos isn't winning the ball, then who is?
Yeah. So I obviously have a bit of data to back this point.
Here we go.
Well, Windhager tagged Holmes, and St Kilda still won the clearances by 7. So even though you can't take Windhager out of the equation, the Saints still won the clearances. So it didn't really affect their midfield plans. And then James Jordan on Sarong, Sydney were plus 12 in clearances and dominated the midfield. The other thing is you need to have the guy to play the role. So James Jordan had 10 clearances. Next best was 6. So not only did he tag Sarong, he was probably the best midfielder on the ground. Not every team has a James Jordan or a Windhager or a Bedford to play this role. And, most teams sort of have 3, 4 good midfielders, and you don't want to take away their strengths by saying, no, you got to roll on somebody else today.
Do you miss him?
Yeah, you could
Jordan,
do
I forgot about
Jordan
that.
and Bedford.
What'd you give him up for?
No, not much. I think a second round pick. I don't miss him. Like, he wasn't really going anywhere with Melbourne, but potentially we didn't know that he was a good tagger. He was just playing on the wing, and it was a bit of a nothing midfielder, to be honest. I don't really miss him. Premiership player,
Yeah.
kind of.
The first premiership player to not play on the ground.
And probably the last.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he never got
a
on.
sub and didn't even get on.
Oh, wow.
It was
Yeah.
back when they had the injury sub.
Yeah, terrible rule.
Yeah.
Josh's deliberation, big question of the week. I put it out to the fans, like you guys have been asking for more of a prompty question.
Very good, Zace.
So I asked, who will be the AFL's first $2 million player? And here are the results from the fans. So these are the honourable mentions that just got singular votes. LDU, Sam Lawler, Chad Warner, Levi Ashcroft, and Cal Shadir.
I don't like that list, except for maybe like
Hey, I'm getting
Warner,
to the top 3 now.
here. No, I'm just saying the
Yeah.
bottom. Leave Ashcroft won't be.
And then tied second and third, we had Harley Reid and Nick Dacos with 16.7%. And the clear winner was Sam Darcy with 41.7 votes as the AFL's next $2 million player.
Did you put it out after Friday night?
I didn't. I only put it out yesterday morning.
Oh, yeah, I meant after
Yeah,
Darcy.
yeah.
It's really hard. What determines a $2 million player? Like, how good do you have to be able to? Because we've never seen that type of money before.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it's as simple as just like, oh, who's the next
yeah.
best young player?
Because
like
team is
no
really
one would-
targeting, and they're worried that other teams will pick them up, so you offer them more than usual.
Exactly. There's a lot of logistics behind it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think Harley Reid and Sam Darcy's been a lot of discussion about this whole $2 million figure recently. Harley Reid hasn't been in the best form over the past 2 games for the start of the season. Sam Darcy, very raw, heaps of potential. I like the idea that he could be the first one. But I don't know. I feel like there could be someone else. It could be like a Matt Rao moving back to Melbourne type situation. Something less expected, I think. Nick Dacos was put second here. I strongly disagree with that unless he opts out of a contract because he's currently signed to 2030. And I'd like to think someone will sign a $2 million contract before that. So I don't think it'll be Nick Dacos. Also could be some rookie in the near future, like next year. I don't know.
Yeah, Dean.
After TDK's game against Hawthorn, I think he could be right
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal. Fully outplayed Meek, was Carlton's best player by far. On a rainy Thursday night as a big man, it was one of the most complete games, I thought. Also had a goal which didn't count. Yeah, and he'll just be making money this whole season, whether that's for Carlton or for someone else.
I don't think he'll go to your typical ball getter midfielder.
No, I think it's about who's the most irreplaceable.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
like a
if you
tall
can
forward, a
replace
ruckman.
someone on 900k
hybrid.
with like 800k, that's all right. But guys like Sam Darcy, you don't just find everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to go from a different angle. First of all, the CBA would have to increase. Like the salary cap would have to increase
Is it
to
not?
allow this to happen.
I
No,
thought it is over the next
so
few years,
it's
like-
it's till 2031, the one
Oh, really?
currently, and in 2031 it doesn't actually have to increase.
It's just
Depending-
that's just when it's
Depending on what the budget is with the services, that will make the increase happen.
fair. Because like, yeah, cool, you can offer someone 2 million, but then everyone else is going to have to be paid less.
Exactly.
So it's not just, it may not even happen for the next few years. But my angle is Tasmania. So when they come in 2028, they're definitely going to have cash to spend because they're going to have a bunch of first-year players who will be on minimum wage contracts. So I've looked at who is out of contract in 2028. And like, there's obviously quite a few that unrealistically will move. Like Isaac Rankin's probably not going to move again, given he's from South Australia. Caleb Sarong, Noah Anderson. Noah Anderson's captain. I doubt either of those two will move. So going back to North Melbourne, Charlie Comben is out of contract in 3 years. And yes, it's a very small sample size. But what I saw last night or last afternoon against the Dees was very impressive as a
It's not
defender.
silly.
No, because let's think about this for a second. Defenders are probably the most sought after players. In terms of trades, they probably get the most money and free agency. Look at Josh Battle, Tom Barras, Ben Mackay, Stephen May and Jake Lever in the past. They tend to attract the most money just because they're scarce. And Charlie Comben will be 26 as a free agent in 2027 trade period, as Tasmania come into the competition. So, bit of a sneaky one. I think it could be the Chom.
Wow. I'm still a bit apprehensive about Tassie, to be honest. It's not fully
Okay.
confirmed, but it's just a watch this space at the moment.
Bit of a wait and see.
Yeah.
Sheldrick.
I was recently looking online at which sporting clubs have the biggest members in the world.
Yeah.
Because I want to see where Collingwood would rank in the world, and obviously you've got the European soccer teams, but it was funny to see Tasmania's name up there with
Oh, really?
150,000 members, like ranked 16th or 15th in the world, ahead of Collingwood and West Coast and Richmond. So,
Did any of you get it?
get
I
what's-
didn't. Nah.
What do you get with it?
I don't know.
sticker.
It was to sign up to be.
I think you get a
But
sticker.
why would you do it?
150,000 people did it.
Oh, just be
I
part
know
of history.
why. Part of history.
Yeah.
Okay.
just backtracking on one of the players who got some votes, Harley Reid. Bit of criticism for him over the past few days, especially from Kane Collins.
Yeah.
He's 19 years old. Is it fair?
No. Well, we knew, like, Harley Reid has never been the type of player, or at least we expected. We don't expect him to have 25 plus touches and rack up the fantasy and be that dominant midfielder that we see with Dunkley, Neal, Dacos, all those other players. But I'm just checking how many disposals he had.
My
15.
my first thoughts was to what Cal said on your predictions pod at the start of last year. And that was, you said who's going to win the Rising Star, and he didn't say Harley Reid. And he said Harley Reid type of players take longer to develop.
Yeah.
And that's exactly true. You look at Petrarca, De Goey, these big, dominant inside midfielders that can break the game, don't just do that in their first 2 seasons. Like, the guy's 19, he's got enormous talent, he's come from a country footy background, and now he's the Prince of Perth. Like, it's ludicrous, to be honest. Like, it's round 2.
So if we knew this from the start that he wasn't going to be that high disposal getter, then we shouldn't change our perspective of him.
I think the criticism is that in more his attitude and like body language, giving away 7 free kicks.
Was it 7?
Not running out games, flipping off the crowd, that sort of thing. Rather than his like performance, which, I don't think you can really be too harsh on his performance. He's a second-year player. Look, players develop at different rates. He's obviously got the talent. We saw that last year. He's gonna get there. It just takes a bit of maturity and time.
Yeah, and the other thing is, as fans, we're so accustomed to seeing these younger guys be so professional as soon as they come in, and Harry's led the way with that, and you look at other players as well, Dacos and even Layla in his first game, like immediately kicks 2 and is 18. But we're all so intrigued by how they go. There's so much more pressure on number 1 picks, instant gratification, everything going on. Like, we just got to take a back seat and let him develop. Like, hasn't reached his potential at all.
Yeah, the pressures of AFL is pretty crazy. Like, week to week, you're going to cop quite a bit if you're not performing. And I think, like, he'll be okay. I don't know if it really would affect him. Like,
I definitely would. For someone that young who's living away from home, in a foreign, very far from home as well, it'd definitely be affecting him. And that's why I don't think we can be too harsh. There's always going to be haters, and there's always, he's also playing for West Coast. I know they were good for the first 2 to 3 quarters this week, but last week didn't they they got smacked against Gold Coast? So, it's not like basketball. You can have a larger impact on the court / field. But yeah, just give him time. Only 2 rounds. Time will tell.
Should we go into Let's Not Be Silly?
Yeah.
Sure.
Dean?
Well, I'm not going to stop.
Not
This
gonna
week, there are 2 games on at 7:35 p.m. on Saturday night. Have a look at the games.
Let's see.
The first one,
Hawthorn v GWS 7:35. Brisbane v Geelong 7:35.
that could well and truly be the top 4 at the end of this season.
Yeah.
And you've put both games on at 7:35. I won't get to watch a minute of Brisbane Geelong.
They're the only 2 games I can watch as well.
It's annoying. I don't know why they do this. It's almost like the AFL is saying, we don't care about you. Put up 2 TVs in your house if you want to watch both games.
Also, like, the Brisbane game's in at the Gabba, so the time is different. Like, you can start that game a little bit later because Brisbane are behind.
We should send them an email. A letter to
I just
Letter
don't
to the
get
AFL?
it, because so much money and resources would be going into the fixturing.
If you're really passionate about it, I reckon we send something to them.
Yeah.
Get a reasoning and justification, then we can send it back to the podcast.
I'd just love to know what the reason is. Like, 7:35 is also such a unique time, a niche time.
Let's ask him.
Like, give us at least 10 minutes so we have a bit of overlap.
Right, after the podcast, we'll do a bit of research and flick an email off.
Sure.
Thanks, Andrew Dillon.
I don't even think I'm going to be able to watch those games because I've got to watch the Melbourne game on
Anything
replay.
else, Diz?
No, that was about it.
Friday night. Member seating. I sit level 2. Fairly common. Love sitting level 2. Probably like the best area to sit at the G.
No doubt.
But when I was sitting there with Ezzy, and I was next to two blokes to my right, and then 4 blokes sitting directly behind me. The guy on my right was whistling, basically into my ear after each goal, like really, really high pitch. The guy behind me was throwing slurs the entire time. Mate, no one can hear you.
Collingwood fans?
Yeah, he was a Collingwood fan. No one could hear, like no one on the field could have heard him. It was so annoying. Kicking my seat. And he thought it was just like, it was the clown out of the group trying to impress his mates. So it was just so frustrating. I didn't know what to do because I didn't want to say anything. And I just don't expect that from the member seating. I don't think it's ever happened for me in that area. In the GA definitely happens. But in the members, like you got to remember where you're sitting. You got to be a bit more respectful. No one else is like that around there. But I happened to be sitting next to 2 of them. Had to move at halftime to somewhere else just because it was so frustrating. It was actually taken away from the game. So that was my let's not be silly. I expect a bit more if you're sitting in the members section. That's all.
Yeah, crazy. Who would have thought Collingwood supporters being disrespectful and immature?
Well, like I said, it doesn't happen. So
Okay.
I actually had a similar situation. Hawthorn fans, young kids behind me. Durry actually had someone mugged right behind her.
nice.
Yeah,
It's no good.
not good for her because she's a fear of vomit.
No.
But just the whole game, like the ball's in our defence. Oh, kick it a whiz. Like
Yeah.
he's 150 metres away from the ball.
It's
like,
annoying.
calm
It's
down.
annoying.
And it does. It genuinely takes away from the game.
There's a difference between being passionate and being annoying about it.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, you have no idea what you're talking about. They generally have no idea. Second of all, it's not that deep. Third of all, they can't bloody hear you. So just cheer when there's a good mark or clap or like get around your player when they take a screamer or a great kick. But just to analyze every little moment of the game, it's just annoying. Like go watch the game at home or watch it at a pub.
Yeah, I can't really relate. I sit with the Melbourne members, and
They're all probably fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd be very proper. And
Yeah. I mean, there's also not many of them, but no, it's always good. They're always respectful. I love being with
I
my
still
people.
want the passion, but to an extent.
100%. My let's not be silly is on Melbourne, and I like to stray away from Melbourne. Don't really
Who'd
want
have
to
thought?
put this. No, I haven't. It's first time.
third episode.
83% chance.
Yeah, okay. Nah, but obviously I'm going to be more focused on my team because it's one of the few games I watch. And it's on Simon Goodwin. And I've defended Goodwin for a long time. But over the last 2 weeks, 50 seconds left in the game against GWS, you have 1 stoppage to get it inside 50. So you take out your best player of the game, Christian Petrarca, out of the centre bounce, and you put in Ed Langdon for his first centre bounce of the game and make Ed Langdon the hit target. And then we lose the clearance. So that was number 1. Number 2, I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry. Number 2, Blake Howes on Toby Green and Paul Kurz over the last 2 weeks. 3 goals and 23 disposals each for those 2. So Simon Goodwin, very, very questionable some of your coaching manoeuvres over the last few weeks. And last one that just came to my mind. We were 3 goals down against North Melbourne at 3/4 time. Obviously need to have a strong start. We don't. North kicked 6 goals in 10 minutes. Who starts on the bench? Clayton Oliver, the one guy that was dominating in the middle.
So is Goodwin washed? Do you want him
Goodwin,
out? Or not yet?
Was he ever clean?
Yeah.
2021. He was pretty clean, 2021. But, Goodwin... And then his comments about Gawn post-game, I don't think were that necessary.
What
He
was
started
that
to really
about?
piss me off.
Can you explain?
I can't explain because I have no idea what's going on.
I think he said that to preempt
A bit of an excuse.
Yeah, to preempt like rumors and all that. But all he's done is start.
Yeah, which, okay, fair enough. Probably wasn't his intention, but
Yeah.
I'm just like so confused over some of the things that Simon Goodwin chooses to do. I think he's just he's not a great match day coach.
How can you be down by 3 goals at 3/4 time and start Clary on the bench?
I know. It just doesn't make sense.
What?
So many things just don't make sense when I'm watching Melbourne games. I'm like, who the hell is Jack Viney kicking the ball to sometimes? That's enough about Melbourne. Let's go into round 3. Have a look at the games. Who's going to win? Not that we know, because looking at tipping, I am
Yeah, go with the
79th.
Oh, I'd be lower.
Dean
than
is
that.
lower. Sorry, I'm 76th. Let's check on Dean. You're Dino for the win. 84th.
Out of.
I think 90 odd. You dropped out this year. Not sure why. And Adam Schustinator, the reigning premier, is 82nd. So not a great start from him. Not a great start at all. Round 2 winner was Asher Green, who got 7. I actually got the margin right. Hawthorn by 20. And the leader is Sam 96284. So I'm not sure whose last name that is, but
Zach's in the top 3.
Zach, yes, he is in the top 3.
Not known for his tipping.
No, he's
Taking
not.
the
Well,
spoon home
I assume
sometimes.
he'd be tipping Hawthorn every week regardless. This is probably the so far.
Yeah.
That's why he's
True.
probably tipping well. Anyway,
Yep.
Thursday night, Essendon v Port Adelaide. There's 2 that come to mind.
Got a work email. Yeah, go on.
Make
I'm
a
having-
sale.
Maybe.
So one was a tall forward / ruck from Essendon to
Paddy
Port.
Ryder.
Paddy
Paddy
Ryder.
Ryder.
Yeah.
And the other one during the whole drug
Yeah.
review was it was a forward.
Angus
Monfries.
Angus Monfries.
And also Orazio Fantasia.
Orazio, yes.
Yes.
And probably will struggle after that one, to be honest. Backman, yes. Brandon Zerk-Thatcher, thank you very much.
Nice, on your
Ross
butter.
Yep. Always
I'm
good.
going to tip Port.
Yeah, Port.
Yeah, Port. Essendon, so bad.
Carlton v Bulldogs Friday night. We've got Matt Kennedy.
Yes, fresh. Matt Kennedy.
Very fresh.
Liam Jones.
Nice.
Good, Dean.
Good, Dean.
You locked in there, Dean.
Nice, Dean.
Really locked in,
Really
but-
proud about that one, aren't you?
I'd be disappointed if I can't get one here. So it's going to piss me off.
3, 2, 1.
Forwards, any small forwards? No.
I'm going to tip Doggies. They looked good last week.
When's Trelaw back? Does anyone know?
Round 4 to 5, I think.
Okay.
Not yet. Not this week. And same with Bont, obviously.
I'm going to tip the Dogs.
It's crazy.
But then Carlton win if I
Yes.
tip Dogs.
I don't know. I think Carlton bounce back.
Yeah. Okay.
Melbourne v Gold Coast.
Oh, very
Saturday.
nervous about this game.
Yeah.
Gold Coast look good
Yeah.
against West Coast.
Do you go into lockdown or do you check?
Nah, I'm locked down. I'm locked down all of Saturday now
Yeah.
because I'll be off my phone. Cups, though, you're looking at Stephen May, Cade Colajasny. Not sure about after that, to be honest.
Yeah. I think Melbourne.
Thanks. I don't think Melbourne.
I'm going to go Gold Coast.
Like, obviously, I'll tip Gold Coast. I probably would change that tip, but
St.
Gold Coast.
Kilda v Richmond.
Dan
Jack
Butler.
Higgins, Dan Butler. I'm thinking of Matt with the tats.
Yeah.
Parker.
Matt Parker.
Matt Parker.
MP400.
Mustin Darden.
400. Yeah, Mustin Darden.
Is this Maddie's match?
I don't know.
Not sure.
Hopefully. Lie. I am not sure about any other players though.
Yeah. I think
Rewalks.
that was a good effort.
Cool. Saints.
Saints. Yeah.
Saints. Yeah,
Wouldn't be surprised if they lose though.
yeah Nina.
Hawks v GWS. Let him cook.
Yes.
James O'Rourke. Is that his name?
Jono
Jono.
O'Moore.
Sorry.
James.
Tim Moore.
Sam Frost, Tom Scully.
Yeah, Jono Patton. Did Brooksby didn't play for GW?
Nah, West
No.
Coast.
Yeah. I think that's enough.
Sure.
I'm
Cool.
going to go
Very big game.
GWS.
Where is it? In Tassie.
Tassie.
Hawthorn. I feel like you guys beat him up there.
We did. It was the Tom Green free on Sicily.
Is Hogan back?
He should be, yeah. They had the bye last.
And Stringer?
I don't know. The
Tom
bye,
Green's
this will
back.
be interesting now with teams having the bye.
Yeah. I'm going to tip GWS.
I'll also go GWS.
I think Hawthorn maybe just due.
Mm. Brisbane Geelong.
Lincoln McCarthy.
Yeah.
Darcy Ford.
Darcy Ford. That's good.
And the Josh Walker.
Yeah. That's good. That's good, Chase.
Chips.
Brisbane is
Brisbane.
Brisbane.
Crom v North on Sunday.
Tom Lynch.
Hugh Greenwood.
Sam Gibson.
Yes. Good. Very good. I actually used to teach his son swimming.
Okay.
Yeah.
That reminds me of when BT says his dad is my dentist.
Yeah, on
And
Tomlinson.
Yeah.
Adelaide North, don't know if there's any others.
I'm going to go Crum.
Yeah, Crum in Adelaide.
Yeah.
Tough task for North to back that
Crum.
up.
The derby. West Coast v Freo.
You can have it, Dean.
Hugh Dixon.
Yeah. Hugh Dixon.
No.
And
Is his name Hugh Dixon? Is
I'm
it?
pretty sure it's Hugh Dixon, but I'm pretty sure there's another one that was picked up in like when West Coast had the COVID shit. Or was that Hugh Dixon?
No. Yeah.
I feel like there was another
I
one,
feel like
but
you're thinking of the North. The North.
maybe. But
West
yeah.
Coast. It wasn't COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like the year after COVID, they didn't have enough.
Yeah,
players?
because of COVID. They all half the team had
Oh, it
COVID
was
and all
COVID.
was injured.
Yeah, they
So
had
they had
another year.
replacement players.
They won this game last
Tipsler?
year.
Yeah, but wait, Freo 0-2.
I'm going Freo, mate.
Yeah.
Freo, but
But
nah, Freo.
Freo.
That's it.
That's it.
Who has
Yeah.
buys this week? Anyone?
Geelong, Collingwood.
No, Geelong are playing. So Collingwood
Sorry,
and someone else.
Essendon.
No,
No.
Essendon are playing.
Sydney.
No.
Is it just?
Why does
It's just
Geelong-
Collingwood and
Sydney
Sydney.
and Collingwood.
Sydney and Collingwood.
Okay,
This is-
Cup. Nah,
Yeah.
we don't have to do that. Cool. Any closing remarks?
Shout out to Ben Keys.
No.
Proving the haters wrong.
Yes, Ben Keys proving the haters wrong.
Yes.
Brodie,
Chase.
Dean.
Jace.
Nah, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. We'll look into a guest next week. I reckon.
Yeah, I
We'll-
reckon we're due.
we're due. Just like
lightens us up, I think.
it does. It does.
And then the week after, when it's just us, is also good.
yeah, to get back into it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you for listening. Sorry that the lighting cut off like 10, 15 minutes ago. I didn't charge it for long enough, which I thought I
Your
did.
skin won't look as good now.
I know. I charged it for like an hour before the pod, so pretty poor.
Mm.
But cool. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Peace.